Okay. And we've got the people popping in. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. All right. I'll go ahead and kind of get started while everyone's still popping in here. So hi, welcome to Sunday Story Time, everyone. I'm Megan. I'm one of the kids booksellers / kids book specialists at Powerhouse. And we are so excited that you're here and joining us this Sunday morning. And we are so excited that author illustrator Terry Brodner is joining us. She's going to read us a lovely story. There's going to be some drawing. I hope you guys brought your art supplies so you can draw along. It's going to be a fun time. So, couple of quick things before we get started. We've got some quick housekeeping things for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and launch this fun poll that Terry came up with for you. So you should see that pop up on your screen. It's a little question that Terry put together, so you can go ahead and answer that, and Terry will discuss the results with you a little bit later. Some other things you'll see on the bottom of your screen, there's a chat button. If you have any comments, any questions, you can go ahead and put them in there. There's also a Q&A button, and that's where you can also submit some questions that Terry will answer a little bit later. And I, in your chat, I'm gonna go ahead and post right now the link to purchase a copy of Vinny Gets a Job, the book that Terry is going to be reading from today. We would really appreciate it if you purchase a copy of the book. It helps out not only our wonderful guest here, but also our bookstore in this difficult time. You will notice there's also a little donation link there that goes directly to Powerhouse to help us stay afloat and help us keep bringing free events like this to you guys. So, with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Terry, our lovely guest for today. So Terry Brodner was born into a family of artists and grew up in New York City. From the subway stations and sides of buildings and galleries of Museum Row, art encompassed the city and captivated her. She began to draw and write from an early age, and she hasn't stopped since. She graduated in 2010 from the School of Visual Arts with a bachelor's in fine arts and moved to Brooklyn with a French bulldog confidant named Vinny and began a career as a portraitist. Having a love of children's literature, Terry turned her attention to writing and illustration. Inspired by Vinny's antics, she wrote and illustrated her first children's book, Vinny Gets a Job. Yay, everybody loves Terry.
Oh, thank you so much, Megan. I'm so excited to be here with Powerhouse Arena Bookstore, reading my new book, Vinny Gets a Job, with all of you. So I am looking, and I don't see the answers to the poll question yet, but I had a couple of silly questions for you guys before we start to read. First of all, I wanted to know if any of you could write in the chat if any of your dogs or cats or pets have jobs, and I will take a look at that. Well, I see that some people are saying that their dog's job is to wake them up every morning by howling. Some people say that, that their dog keeps them warm, that their dog's job is to eat. Oh, professional bird watcher. Cats are definitely professional bird watchers. Someone said their cat is a professional bird watcher. And the best job for a cat is to be a paperweight. That is absolutely right. Someone said that. Oh, and a Swiffer. Dogs definitely clean the floor. That's absolutely 100% true. Firsthand experience. So these are all great jobs that you're coming up with, because that's true. All of our animals do have jobs. But do they ever put on suits and go for interviews and try to get jobs in the city? Usually not, but I imagined what it might be like if my little French bulldog, Vinny, did just that. So I'm gonna read what happens to him. So Vinny Gets a Job by me, Terry Brodner. Dedication for dogs everywhere and the people who love them. Vinny lived with his mom and an adopted brother, Lester, a cat. Every morning, Mom would put on nice clothes and leave the house. "Where does Mom go all day?" Vinny asked Lester one sunny afternoon. "She has a job," Lester answered. "What's a job?" Vinny asked. Lester explained. "A job is a place where you do things for other people and they give you food and toys." "Wow, I should get a job," said Vinny. "Don't be silly," said Lester. "Dogs don't get jobs." But Vinny was determined. The next morning, after Mom left for work, he put on his best suit. You see all the clothes he has in his closet? And there's Lester. I don't know if Lester's too excited about it. And marched out the front door and down the street. Looks kind of like our streets in New York City. Soon, Vinny saw a help wanted sign on a restaurant, on a door on a restaurant. "Hello," Vinny said to the lady behind the counter. "I'm looking for a job." "Great," said the lady. "Can you clean tables?" "Yes, of course," said Vinny. The lady gave him an apron and he waited for someone to leave a table. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Finally, he had a chance to show how well he could clean. Immediately, Vinny hopped up onto the table and started licking the plates. There was a lot of delicious tomato sauce and crumbs. Vinny thought he had found the perfect job. Do you think he found the perfect job? I don't know. "No, no, no," the lady shouted. "I didn't realize you were a dog. We don't hire dogs." Vinny was confused, but he wanted a job and he wasn't going to give up. So here is a big map of Vinny's neighborhood. All right, so we have his house over here, and he's traveling all the way over to the restaurant over here, and then he's covered in tomato sauce, and he's headed to the what looks like a flower shop over there. He saw another help wanted sign in a store window. Inside were leafy green plants from floor to ceiling as far back as the eye could see. "Hello," said Vinny to the man behind the counter. "I'm looking for a job." "Great," said the man. "We need someone to water the plants." Vinny was very experienced at this and was eager to show how well he could do it. Uh-oh. Without being asked, he began to water the plants. Uh-oh. "Stop!" cried the man in astonishment. "You're a dog, and we don't hire dogs." Vinny left feeling very disappointed. He had just about given up on getting a job when he noticed a giant building with columns. In a building that huge, he was sure extra workers were needed. By the way, can you see the sign on the building? It says Natural History Museum. Have any of you been to the Natural History Museum? I have. "Hello," Vinny said to the museum guide. "I'm looking for a job." "Follow me," said the man, and they walked into a great hall with the biggest collection of bones Vinny had ever seen. Oh no, I don't know what he's going to do in this hall. Do you see all the different dinosaurs? There's a Stegosaurus and a Triceratops and a big T-Rex. And I think Vinny has never seen anything like that in his life before. This is the most complete Apatosaurus skeleton ever found, the man said. Can you just watch it and keep it safe? Yes, says Vinny. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if you can keep it safe, do you? Let's see. So he watched the bones and watched them and watched them. The more he watched them, the more delicious they looked. No one would notice if I took a tiny bone, he thought. They have so many here. He made sure no one was near and gave a firm tug on the skinniest leg bone he could clamp his jaws on. This might be harder than I thought. He gave another yank and another until he heard a sharp pop. He did it. He looked down at the bone and smiled. Just then a loud rumble filled the room. The rest of the bones were moving. Oh dear, thought Vinny. And he ran as fast as he could out of the museum and all the way home. There's a little map, or rather a big map, of him with the bone traveling all the way back to his house with the bone. Mom was waiting for him when he got home. Where were you? You had us worried sick. Oh, I was just looking for a job like yours, Mom. But I'm no good at jobs, said Vinny. You certainly are, Mom smiled. You wake me up every morning, greet me when I come home, keep me safe and love me all the time, she said, giving Vinny a big hug. It's the perfect job for you. You're a dog. Meanwhile, at the museum, this used to be the most complete Apatosaurus skeleton around, the museum guide said to a group of people standing around the dinosaur. Where did its leg bone go? Someone asked. Can you see what they're using instead of a leg bone? So silly. We have no idea, the museum guide sighed. Where did it go? The end. So, before we do some drawing, and I hope all of you have your paper and maybe some crayons, I wanted to share some photos of the real Vinny with you because you might be asking, was Vinny a real dog? And the answer is absolutely yes, he was. All right, so some of these are a little funny though. So when we first got Vinny, he was teeny tiny. And because of that, his head didn't really fit his ears. So he kind of looked a little bit like a bunny. Can everybody see that he just kind of looks, his ears are just way too big for his head. There's some more pictures of him looking a little bit like a bunny. And another picture where he just looks an awful lot like a bunny rabbit poking over the couch. And he came from a place called Louisiana where there was a lot of trees and grass, and he didn't like coming to the city where there was lots of hard pavement and his paws would get kind of hurt because he had very soft little baby paws back then. But he got used to city life and he grew up into being a very handsome looking French bulldog. So either he doesn't look so much like a bunny anymore, right? And he loved to go to the park. And he loved to play tug of war. All right, so now that we see what the real Vinny looks like, I was wondering if we're all ready to go and draw our very own Vinny so we can take home a picture of Vinny with us when we go home. Or since you are already home, you can have your very own picture of Vinny with you. All right, so I'm gonna head over to the drawing table. Okay. And we're gonna start drawing our Vinny. So in order to get started drawing Vinny, we're going to need a crayon or our marker. And first we're gonna make a very simple curve. Can you do that? Okay. And then we're gonna do another curve like that that connects. Okay. And then we're gonna bring that curve all the way down like that. Okay. All right, and then we're gonna just keep going and we're gonna make a really big curved V shape. Can you guys make a curved V shape for the bottom of Vinny's face? All right, and then I'm curving over this way to finish the shape of his face. All right. All right, and now we're gonna make his silly bunny ears. You ready? Because French bulldogs are secretly bunnies. So there's one. Let's make the inside. And then there's two. So we've got to make these big loops. Can you make that big loop? And then do the inside. All right. And then we're going to make his eyes. Are you ready? So first we're going to make one little circle like that, right next to the side of his face. And the inside, which is a little circle. And then we're going to make another circle like that. And an inside circle. And then we're going to start making his nose. So his nose has two little lines that are parallel, sort of like that. And then he has a little triangular, upside down triangle nose. Okay. And then we have one line that goes down that way and curves up like that. And another line that goes down that way and curves up like that. Can add a little line for his smile. And then we make one line like that, one line like that, and then they meet in the middle. And you can add a little curved M for his tongue, maybe some teeth. And then you can color him in however you want. And I'm gonna add a little bow tie because I love Vinny's bow tie. And you can add his spots because he has all these big spots on his face. You can color him in, like I said, however you want. All right, and that's Vinny pretty much. So, and now, I'm so glad that we got to draw Vinny together. And now I was wondering if any of you had any questions about oh boy. I'm gonna need you to read the questions to me, okay? Yep. So I would love to see any questions that you have for me about the book or about me or about Vinny. So if you want, you can just type in any questions that you have in the chat.
I see one from Mary Ann, who asks, how old was Vinny?
Oh, so Vinny was about 8 years old. He was like a little middle-aged dog. And yeah, so he was about like middle-aged.
We've got another question that says, did Vinny like spaghetti? And that's from Anna.
Oh yeah, Vinny definitely liked anything that, if it was on the table and you were enjoying it, Vinny liked it. So you had to make sure to share everything with him.
We've got another question from Barbara that says, where can we buy the book? That's a really good question, Barbara. I'm going to post the link in the chat again, so you can click on it there and you can buy the book from Powerhouse's website. We've got some more questions. Let's see. We've got did he have any other favorite foods, from Keith?
Oh, did he have any other favorite foods? Well, he loved kale, like I was saying. So every time I would bring home a bag of groceries that had kale in it, he'd find the kale. He had like a sixth sense, which means he could just tell wherever it was, he could find the kale and just tear off as many pieces as he wanted, which was usually about 2 or 3 pieces, like a good little bunch. And he'd just run off to a corner of the house where no one could find him and just munch on the kale. It was pretty great.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Marianne asked if you're working on any other books.
Yes, I'm hoping to come out with a sequel for Vinny, where he may go to Coney Island. So I'm currently still working on writing and then going to start illustrating that. And hopefully there'll be a nice little sequel to Vinny Gets a Job.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
Trey asked, does Vinny have any brothers or sisters?
Well, he does have an adopted brother, Lester, who is a cat. So he knows that he's not related to Lester by actual, he's not from the same mom and dad, but that he's an adopted brother. But the real Vinny, when we got him, he came from a nice litter, which was, he had a little fawn, which means yellow. When you're talking about French bulldogs, there was a little fawn sister that he had, and he had another little brother who was dark brindle, which means dark brown with some stripes, some yellow stripes. So yeah, he did have brothers and sisters when we got him all the way from Louisiana.
That's pretty cool. Natsumi asks, how many spots did Vinny have and where did he live?
Oh my goodness. I never took the time to analyze how many spots Vinny had. He had a couple of really big ones. He had one on his eye, let's think, one on his eye, one in the middle of his head, one on his other ear, and he had two on his back, a big nice brown spot on his back, and one that covered his whole butt, which everybody said looked like little wings on his butt. It was very silly, but it covered his tail.
Peter wants to know if Vinny ever finished eating the bone.
Oh, I don't know. I think it turned into furniture. I think it's used now to prop up the couch. It's like art. It's like an art piece in his house now. So I don't think he ever finished eating it. I think it just became part of his life, which is okay, you know.
Donna wants to know if Vinny had any best dog friends.
Oh, well, he had a lot of really good dog friends. He had one friend who had a very funny Italian name, Onofrio. And Onofrio was a very big German shepherd who also liked to eat everything that everyone else was eating and would play with Vinny an awful lot and wasn't scared when Vinny wanted to play tug of war really, really intensely. So he was best friends with that dog, with the big German shepherd. That was his best friend.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Dennis wants to know if Vinny had a distinct bark or any other funny personality traits.
Yeah. So Vinny didn't really bark like a real dog. I mean, well, he was a real dog, so any way that he barked was how a real dog barks. But it just didn't sound how you would expect a dog to bark. So instead of going woof woof or arf arf or ruff ruff, he went a boof boof. So every time someone would knock on the door or he'd hear something that was very alarming and he didn't know where it was coming from, he'd just go a boof boof. It was very funny.
Let's see. I think we might have. Leslie asked if this is your first book.
This is my first book that I wrote and illustrated myself, and I'm so excited to join the Simon and Schuster publishing world and the world of authors and illustrators. It's very exciting.
We've got another question that says, did Vinny ever dress up in silly costumes?
I mean, this is a good question. So Vinny really liked sweaters because having short hair, being a short-haired dog, isn't very comfortable all the time. So he really liked having nice, cozy, warm sweaters and sitting by little heaters or fireplaces. But he wasn't really a fan of whenever I tried to dress him up. So I tried a couple of different times. One time I put little wings on him for Halloween, and he looked at me and I said, I'm so sorry, but he went to the party anyway, looking like a little bat dog. And then there was another time where he put on a mermaid costume for like 1 second, and he told me it wasn't his style, so he took it off.
Someone else wanted to know if Vinny had a favorite ice cream flavor.
Oh my goodness. I forgot because, Vinny's favorite food was kale, but his other favorite food definitely was ice cream. So he would walk around the block with me all the time, and we had a little ice cream store. We still have a little ice cream store in our neighborhood, and he would sit outside of the ice cream store and wait for someone to notice him. And as soon as they did, they would immediately give him ice cream. So I didn't think that anything was safe for him to eat besides vanilla. So he really loved vanilla ice cream. But I'm sure if there was a kale flavored ice cream, he'd probably like that. As gross as it sounds.
Let's see. Marianne said, how did you get started drawing and telling stories?
Well, ever since I was really little, I just loved drawing dogs, and I loved talking to dogs. I loved interviewing people with dogs, and I loved making up stories. So it was just very natural for me to just sort of grow into somebody who would write a children's book. But yeah, it was a very slow evolution from childhood. Always loved telling stories, and I always loved drawing, especially animals. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Keith asked, who taught you to draw?
Well, my dad actually was very influential in me learning how to draw, and I would spend many hours watching him draw, and it really helped me learn as a little girl. And then I just sort of grew up teaching myself, drawing from pictures that I liked, books that I liked. So yeah, it kind of was natural.
Trey asked, has Vinny taught you in any way?
Yeah, Vinny has. Vinny, I mean, certainly. I mean, he's my biggest teacher. He was very tenacious. I think that's the biggest lesson from Vinny, is to never give up, and to never give up on your dreams, and to always keep after whatever it is you want. And that was Vinny's goal. It's just that was his motto, is never give up, and keep going after whatever it is I want at the moment. That was his motto. So he taught me that, and he was just very loving and sweet and silly. So he taught me not to take the world too seriously also.
Those are all really awesome lessons. I'm going to click polling on here real quick so that everybody can see the results, so we can all see what kind of pets you guys have.
Oh, great.
Share the results. So it should pop up on everybody's screen so you can see. It looks like the winner was a cat by a tiny bit. We have 11 people who have cats. We have 10 people who have dogs.
Oh, great.
We've got some birds and some fish in here.
Oh, boy. I
We've
see
even
all
got
that.
2 dragons and a squirrel. Where
Two
else is
dragons
the
and a
dragon in the
squirrel.
city?
Well, I was hoping someone would answer dragon because I've always wanted to meet someone who has a pet dragon or a squirrel. Squirrel's also like, up there on the list of best animals you could possibly have, or most interesting animals you could possibly have in your life.
That's true.
Yeah.
We do have one more question too.
Oh, great.
Jim wants to know, what kind of tail did Vinny have?
Well, Vinny didn't really have a tail. Vinny had more of like a little nub, and the nub would wag a little bit if he was happy, and it would move a little bit if he was shocked. But he didn't really have a big waggly tail. He just had a little tiny nub, which was more than enough for him. He used it very well. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and put in the chat one more time. So if you drew with Terry today, which I did, I'm not as talented of an artist as Terry.
Oh,
I'm
it's
not an
amazing!
illustrator. But there's my little Vinny.
Yay!
And I'm going to put in here my email and Terry's email. If you or anyone watching with you drew Vinny, you should go ahead and send us what you drew, because we would love to see your Vinny. That would be super fun.
Be amazing. I would love to see that.
Yeah. And thank you guys so much for joining today. So I am going to go ahead and put also in the chat the link one last time to buy the books, just in case it got buried in some other things for you. But Terry, thank you so much for joining us and doing story time with us this Sunday morning. Thank you all of you for joining us. If you enjoyed this story time, we will be doing Sunday story time again next week, also at 11 a.m. We will have author John Robert Allman with us. He's going to be reading from A is for Audra, which is an alphabet book that has a different Broadway leading lady for every letter of the alphabet. So there will be lots of Broadway. There might be some singing. You never know what can happen.
That sounds great.
There's also someone who asked, where else can people see you, Terry?
Well, I don't have any particular readings lined up so far, but I'm sure you can see me soon, and I'll keep everyone posted.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you can follow Terry on Twitter and Instagram.
Exactly, on Instagram.
You can also follow us at Powerhouse on 8 on Instagram and Twitter. And also on Facebook, we post readings and stuff like that on there, and can sign up for our newsletter. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining, and like a round of applause for Terry.
Aw,
awesome job. All right, everyone, have a good rest of your Sunday.
Have a great Sunday, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.